Tamu tu.
Just vibes and inshallah. And we're back with the Matamu podcast. We are doing things a bit differently this time. And I have here said, now the last time he was on this podcast, he was daddy.co.ke. Now he's changed.
Yes, I have.
What have you changed to now?
I changed to Growing Father.
Ooh, what's the story behind that rebrand?
Okay, so the story was, I was thinking about the kind of the perception of fatherhood.
Yes.
And initially I wanted to change to something like flawed fathers, but then I realized
Yeah, that wouldn't fly. That would not fly.
But also it wasn't as anyway, it was a specific thought, but the thought process was that a lot of people are like, oh, you're setting a standard or doing this, and I didn't want that perception. I think the idea I wanted to push was that we're all growing. And we all have flaws, and basically we should just aspire to continue growing. Okay. So the goal there is just growing father is watch me as I grow.
As you grow.
Exactly.
So it's an evolving, it's not, it's not a destination.
Exactly.
It's a journey.
Exactly. Like, yes, there you go. It's a journey.
I should be in branding.
I'm telling you, 100% should be the guy who I call to justify my strategies. Here's your new logo, James.
So, Said is coming here to talk about just what he's talking about now, fatherhood. And I had just a few questions I wanted to ask you about fatherhood and food.
Okay.
Starting with, so I remember when Adam was a very young child.
Yeah.
We used to see a lot of pancakes being posted.
Yes.
And now it's evolved. So I was wondering, how has been your experience with the evolving tastes of the children?
So I think anybody with kids will attest to this, but their tastes are very seasonal. And I mean, just like seasons, you start somewhere, you'll end up back there eventually in 4 or so seasons. So
I like that.
Yeah, it eventually just kind of comes around. So we went from pancakes, we added... okay, so 2 things first. Adam is very routine driven.
Yes.
So the minute we said Sunday was pancakes, it was pancakes on Sunday. Otherwise, Sunday is not happening.
I like that.
And then I made the, let's call it, decision to also do crepes on Saturday.
Ooh.
And French toast on Friday and a few other things. Okay. So I stacked the routine, which... it worked in my favor, also didn't work in my favor, because then it was like, you have to do it.
Challenges.
Yeah, then one day he just stopped eating the pancakes. So it became trying to find new things for him to have. But somehow after trying out a lot of different things, we've ended up back at pancakes. However.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is where it gets a bit tricky, because while we were adding all those things and testing out different things on Sundays, and then also I stopped making as many breakfasts because with our daughter I was now on night shift, so a lot of Sundays I woke up late, and Zayn would take over breakfast duty. Now if you know Zayn, you know she's extra. So what she did,
Zayn side eyes.
So Zayn started doing this whole buffet of a bunch of different types of food.
Yes.
And then we added pancakes to that. So now
that's how you came back.
Yeah. So now Sunday has become a full-blown picnic with just a array of foods that they like.
But that's so cool.
Yeah, it actually, it's a nice tradition. So Sunday breakfasts are these huge elaborate affairs where you can start cooking at whatever time and finish at just before lunch, and then you call it breakfast.
Call it brunch.
Yeah. You still call it breakfast, and then they call it picnic. And
okay.
Yeah, and Sunday hasn't happened now if you don't have a picnic.
So now I'm curious, just on that point that you'd made, that it changes. So is there ever a reason for the change? If yes, what is the most hilarious one that you've had?
Wow. What is the most hilarious reason for change? The thing is, I don't. Is there ever a reason?
Is there? It's just random.
It's random because it goes from there are days where you'll be like, okay, he's not eaten you've been freezing the pancakes.
Yes.
And they're not getting eaten, and then eventually it's like, okay, maybe let me switch up. And then this weekend you switch up and do something else, and then it's like, where are the pancakes? it's so difficult to like find the rationale.
Yes.
But I think the time when I felt, okay, I need to revise this. There's a time, I don't remember exactly what it was that I made, but I went out of my way during the picnic time to like make a bunch of different things. I think it was like potatoes, and I made like these sausage roll type things, and like a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And then after we did all that, he looked at everything and goes, "Where are the pancakes?" I was like, no.
It's like
No.
all of my efforts.
Yeah, it's just like all of this, and he insisted, and then it was like, you have to go back and make the pancakes. And
I like that.
yeah, so fatherhood has been an experience. Like it's been an experience. It's been an experience.
That's so fascinating. But I guess again with the routine, if you're a creature of routine, getting something out of the routine is like the routine then just it just crumbles.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like especially at that age. So many things are pegged on that, like even the feeling of stability, the sense of security, like all those things are tied to having a solid routine. So it's been pretty interesting because I don't know, I guess I kind of am a creature of habit where I
kind of
now as my wife is pointing out, I would eat the same thing forever if I could.
Yes.
But you see, that's the thing. It's like I am comfortable in repetition. But then the problem I think I have is just like sometimes my schedule isn't the most regular. So
it's not very flexible.
So it's just you end up doing what you have to like make whatever has to happen. Yeah,
I get it. So now just pivoting into a bit of this is what people will call preachy. As a father, portraying positive masculinity with regards to food. I know people will be like, what? How do you do it? Well, looking back at us growing up as kids, you never ever saw father in the kitchen.
No, never. Yeah, never.
It didn't work.
It didn't happen, yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, the 3 times we saw my father in the kitchen, there was a roast goat of leg involved. Like
he went to collect the goat.
We went to Kiserian, bought that leg of goat, of course a rack of ribs. Came back, he made sure that he marinated it. We went early in the morning so that he could marinate for about like 3-4 hours, and then he checked the oven very very well. Like it was barely ever used at that point, so I had to really check it. And then gets the goat of the leg of goat and rubs it with something, and then puts rosemary and ties it up in an aluminum foil, puts it on the tray and puts it in. And funny story, once he did that, that was the second time he did that, and what happened is that shortly after, a wave of ants came pouring out of the oven.
Oh no!
Because the last time he had did it,
they didn't wash.
Clean.
Oh,
so there was just like a wave of ants, and we were all like, ah! So when we saw that happen, we knew that father is about to go into the kitchen, but otherwise you could never ever find him there. And I'm wondering now, looking at it from a positive masculinity, where we're trying to rewrite those cultural and social norms. How is it for you? Seeing the kids, of course, will be exposed to some of these norms outside of the home.
I hope so.
So how is it for you as a father to be in that process where you are balancing the workload with your wife? The kids are seeing this very good. I hope that it is very good.
I hope so too.
Is it very good? Okay, Tim has nodded, so it is very good. So this is very good example that you're giving. And so how is it? Let's start with that. How is it for you?
So it's interesting. I'll say this. I've said this before, but I know sometimes it feels like it's the context, it's the reality of it. I didn't have a benchmark for fatherhood as a direct experience. I kind of saw and heard people talk about their experiences, and my feeling was that the way I wanted to be for my kids, and this is something I've figured out over time. Like in the beginning, what all I thought was do your best.
Yes.
And what I realized very quickly in doing your best is that there were things that I had thought I was doing well that I wasn't doing very well. And we had some fairly honest conversations about that, where I had to like check myself and figure out ways. You see, like the mentality I think is usually that you're contributing to what's being done.
Yes.
As opposed to you're doing what you need to do.
You're there hovering over as the Almighty Father.
Yeah, who sometimes descends from his perch to do something. And it's not that. That's not the case. The case is that there's work to be done and that work is yours. And if you don't do it, you're basically forcing someone to do your work. It's not that you're helping them sometimes. No. This is a workload that you both own. And as such, that the only time I think you should be like saying help is you're helping each other.
Yes.
That's it. Like it's a two-way, it's a bilateral balance, right? So in many ways, what I've kind of realized is that the most positive version of masculinity and fatherhood, at least where I am right now, like I said, still growing, still learning, but at least where I am right now, what I understand to be the most positive version of it is to find balance. To continue like doing your best in everything that you do, and to always put the needs of the child and of the family before your own.
Deep.
Yeah. Eish. So if you do those three things, then you should be on the right path. So if you do that, then you stop thinking about it like whether or not I need to be in the kitchen and whether or not what I'm doing is the best thing for them. Sometimes that means you need to take a break. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes that means you need to step out. Sometimes it means you need to whatever, go get therapy or something. Like there's many different things that it would imply for what you should be doing. And some of them like for me, I struggle with exercise. I exercise because of them. Like I could do it for me, but then eventually I get to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm already, as far as I'm fine. I'm good. I don't really need to do. But then every now and again I'll be like, you know what, just get in like 30 minutes of activity today so that you can give them that few extra years of you being around and you being functional and you being able to help. It's like sometimes you do things like, I don't know, even things where it might be good for you and you just overlook it. Yes. Drink water.
The simple things.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Exactly.
Take a walk.
Exactly. Like you found us taking a break, right? And it's because, at some point, and I'm constantly told this, we need to take a break.
Yes. It's very important.
And it was literally the only thing I was working towards, where I'm like, the minute the opportunity presents itself, like the day that the stars align,
that's the day.
We're gone. And we planned this trip for 5 days ago. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it was that, like the window opened.
And you went for it.
I jumped straight through it.
No, that's fantastic. Fantastic. It's really important for fathers listening. I know they may not be that many, but fathers listening, please take care of yourselves.
There will be many. We must project success. This podcast will go global. They will come to learn more.
They will come to learn more
food and fatherhood.
Yeah. So fathers everywhere, please listen to what the man says. You need to take a break. You need to take care of yourself and project that positive example for not just your own sons, but sons around, because it's not just the one that you made.
It's the ones around them.
It's the ones around them as well.
And be very comfortable getting it wrong.
Absolutely.
Be very comfortable getting it wrong.
Say it again.
Get very comfy with failure. Like,
please do.
Yeah, because that's where all the lessons are.
Yes.
That's where all the value, even for your kids to just watch you try. Like I watched my daughter this last few weeks ago. We're making crepes and I messed up the first one because you mess up all the first crepes. The first ones are always they just stick for no reason and then like they refuse to flip and maybe the batter is too thin or too thick and whatever it is. They are the correction.
Yes.
But in the process of getting it wrong, I told her, wait. I know this is wrong, but it's still delicious. So
Most importantly.
yeah. So we're going to finish it,
Yes.
and then we're going to correct it, and then
Yes.
we'll do it again. And she's more of like, she's in the kitchen a lot more than I am actually. So because she's there when I'm there, she's there when you're there. And anyway, so we finished that first one and put it to the side, and she kept going, but it's ugly. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't look nice. Like, we're going to eat it.
You gotta eat it.
Yeah, so we ate it, and she kept saying it was yummy, and I'm like, yeah. That's just the point, is that the recipe, the ingredients were good.
Yes.
We got something wrong
The
somewhere.
execution was a bit wonky.
I was like, but it's fine. It's fine to fail, and then you do it right the second time. We did the second one right, did the third one right, and after that she was like, okay, cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
So speaking about failure in the kitchen, what is, if you can remember off the top of your head, like one funny incident when a food failed hilariously, and you got the whole 10 years, because I know that your family is masters of the dry humor.
Let me see. What have I failed at? I'm looking for inspiration. I know I have failed at a few things. I'm trying to think. Yeah. Well, not even recently, in general. You're going to say the burgers? Okay. So, well, no, they were... Okay, so let me explain what happened. So, we were rushing to make dinner, and the burger parties had been upstairs, so they'd frozen.
Yes.
And we hadn't taken them out to thaw.
That's all it's starts.
So the challenge was how to thaw them quickly and thaw them enough that you can separate them, because
yes, they're really, really, really stuck together.
yeah, and then from there cook them fast enough so that the kids can eat. And yeah, so that was where. So I was doing the fries, and then I went up, took the patties, brought them down. And I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out. So I tried everything. First it was like, okay, you know what? Maybe the hot water thing. So then that would kind of at least whatever. But then the water cooled and still nothing. So I was like, you know what? Microwave. Because then I can do the thaw setting on the microwave, right? But then there's plastic in between, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe I should put them in the oven. But then there's plastic in between, so I can't do that. So I went back and forth with how do I get these things done. Eventually, I settled for more hot water.
Yes.
Which kept softening the outside.
Yes.
And eventually, they did start separating. So as they separated, I would cook them. Now, the way physics works. I
like that preamble. The way physics works.
So the thing, the girdle, whatever, the metal that we're using to grill the patties had been on for a while. So it was already like just hot. So the minute the first patty was ready and I threw it on there, it started cooking, and I was like, cool. So like I was saying, the way physics works is the outside might have melted. But the inside had not melted.
Yeah, it was cold.
So even though like the Maillard effect works in such a way that like it browned on the outside and it's cooked, it's fully cooked on the outside, and flip it over. You do the 1 minute. I mean, not 1 minute. Sorry, like 3 to 4 minutes on each side.
Yeah, each side.
Yeah, and flip over and then repeat the same. So that you don't flip too many times. Just for anybody who's still like starting out with their burgers.
That's how to do it.
Yeah, it should be one time for each side. So you stay on one side, flip to the other side,
flip back.
Yeah, put cheese, and then you kind of move on with your life.
Yes.
Which is what I did. Except because I was thinking I must outsmart physics. I am going to lower the flame a little, right? So that it can cook a little bit longer, so that it cooks inside for sure.
Yes.
We don't have a thermometer, like the meat thermometer.
The meat one,
Yeah, so long and short of it is it cooked nicely on the outside. My son was really hungry, so the minute he saw fries and a burger, he was just like, yes, ate through like almost the whole thing. Yeah, so like
he was hungry.
Yeah, no, he was hungry. He ate through the whole thing, and then it's just like at some point Zane just looks at me and she just like holds up a cross section of it. And it's like the nice brown, and then just like pink, and he's just like gone through it. Yeah.
You might want to check if you have Ethiopian blood somewhere.
Then there was the second layer of it.
Dun,
Oh,
dun,
God.
dun.
Okay. Oh God, I forgot about that part. Okay, so the second layer of the fail is then I took the meat and I was like, okay, remember I talked about the oven earlier?
Yes.
I realized that it was still on.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw
them in the oven, yeah.
Right? That's a smart thing to do. Set the timer, put it on 10 minutes because, it really shouldn't be in there any longer than that. And it wasn't like a high temperature, it was maybe like 200. So I figured 10 minutes is enough for it to cook through. Right?
Yeah.
Put the timer, go in, do the bath with the kids. Because I was like, she still has to eat and like, the nanny, so on and so forth. So I'm like, okay, so put the timer 10 minutes, go in, do the bath time thing, bedtime stories, blah, blah, blah. Like the full 1 hour passes. And then I come out of the kids' room and go into the kitchen. I'm like, why is it smelling like smoke in here? And I opened the oven.
Oh man!
And it's still going, and the little timer thing on the oven is broken.
Oh no!
So yeah, this thing cooked to a crisp. So it went from not cooked to just like solid. Like
oh wow!
Yeah. So one burger was consumed that day, and it was a raw one. And then everybody else, all the other parties were ruined. All other were they 3 or 4? However many there were.
You learned from the failure that the oven timer was not working. So
Yeah. So now I don't trust the time. Just
at all.
Yeah. Just use my phone next time. Like hey Google, just set a timer for 10 minutes, and that's what we're doing with life now.
That's fantastic. I appreciate these really good stories. That is actually where I will wrap up this episode. But if you have anything that you want to promote, this is your time.
Yes. I have 2 things, I think, that I would want to promote. First one is Book Nook has a podcast.
Yebo.
Yes. And basically it is a storytelling podcast for the youngins, where different, parents, authors, different people read stories for kids, and it's been nicely produced and put together by the wonderful people at Play Academy Africa. And it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music. You can follow playacademy.africa or playroom.ke or booknook.ke to kind of keep up with the episodes. They come out every week. They're all awesome. The first one is about my son. So I 100% love that podcast. And second thing is just like to follow those same pages that I mentioned and follow the Growing Father, which is at Growing Father. Don't
do things
at just at Growing Father, and keep up with what I'm doing there. And then I've tried to separate my professional content to said content.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So at said.content if you're trying to find out what I do for a living, which is tell and sell stories. So
and sell stories.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Seth. Thank you for coming back on the podcast.
Thank you
for this new season. I hope that we shall do this again.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and your equipment, as always, is very fantastic.
Thank you. It's right. Even when I'm on holiday.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like we'll be running into each other on holiday, and you're like pulling out a bag. It's like, okay, so here my task comes. Like, what, dude? This isn't how people roll in general. Portable. I'm telling you, like, look at this thing. It's so awesome. So fantastically machined. Yeah, well done.
Thank you. We'll put links to everything that Said has mentioned in our description. So please make sure that you go and listen. The podcast is fantastic. I can tell you that for sure.
It's awesome.
And that is it for this episode on the Matamu podcast. We'll be back. We don't know when, but we'll be back.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.